Welcome to our channel. Today we want to share with you our top 10 reasons why we think transatlantic cruises are pretty special.
Special and unique.
Reason number 1 is additional special entertainment.
Yeah, right off the bat, they roll out things that you don't do on any other regular cruises. Our first transatlantic cruise, we were hit with Cruising with the Classics, where they brought in a famous pianist, classical pianist, to do a headliner show and then do some afternoon shows specific to that cruise.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't the only ones. It was packed in the afternoon, every performance.
Mm-hmm. His name was John Paul, JP, and he told the story of how each composition came to be, and it just brought the music to life, really.
Yes. So our second transatlantic, we were wondering if they were going to do that. They didn't, but they rolled out some fantastic bonus shows, including, it was maybe my favorite, was the crew talent show. And the crew took this seriously. They had to audition, and only the top folks made it to the actual performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were 6 performances. Some were singing, some were dancing, the winner was a magician who happened to be our assistant waiter, actually. But it was so fun, and they had like 3 judges. One was the captain, one was the cruise director, and one was actually a pinnacle
the top pinnacle
guest on board. Her name was Karen. That was such a fun show.
Absolutely. Yeah. In addition to those performances, you had the singers and dancers do some of their favorite music for you.
Mm-hmm. And I just thought of another one.
What?
In that nightclub venue, what was it called?
You must mean the music hall. There's too many nightclub venues on our ship. Music hall, because I know what she's talking about.
Yeah, the orchestra did their own show, and that was fun too.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Number 2, get into a relaxing rhythm. There's nothing like 8+ sea days to just find a rhythm, your vacation rhythm. And for some, that's book reading, lounging. For me, it's going to the gym and just getting my exercise in each day and enjoying the free time.
Yeah, last year's transatlantic that we went on, I think I read 7 books. This time we were working during the day on the first week, so there was less reading, but it was still super chill, and we started to get into our own schedule of, after work, fun things to do. Number 3 is all the special activities. They have enrichment speakers who came, I think it was most every sea day, and they did like different series. So there was one woman who talked about stress and health, and so that was, I think, a 3-part series maybe. And then there was this guy who was the director of some really great comedy shows. Wait, was he a director or a writer? I think he was one of the writers.
I think writer, producer, director.
Yeah. The other thing they had was they had a choir on board, so all of the guests could become a part of a choir. And because you have so many sea days and so much time, really, each day, they had multiple practices, and then they did a show.
Yeah, it's just a different feel than a typical 7-day cruise. Number 4, and maybe number 1 for some of you, it's some of the best pricing for cruising that you'll find anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so on the spreadsheet that I keep, one of the factors is the price per day. So if you take this is a 12-day or 14-day transatlantic cruise. So you take the total cost, divide by the number of days, and I think last year's Transatlantic, let me check the numbers. Last week's Transatlantic was 12 days from Miami to Amsterdam, which, oh, Amsterdam. That was just over $70 per person per day. This year's Transatlantic from April into May on Odyssey of the Seas was a 14-night Transatlantic, and it was just about $75 per night per person.
Yeah, the one we just did was a tad more expensive, but that was on one of the newest ships out there, just 2-3 years old. So I think that may have been a better bargain, even though it was just slightly more expensive than our first Transatlantic. Number 5, the nostalgia of thinking about those old Oceanliner cruises, really where cruising started. And at least for me, and I'll talk about it, there's just something to feel of going from point A to point B across the ocean in either direction, and knowing 100 years ago that was the only way you really could travel from Europe to the United States or to the Americas or back. And so many people did that. So many people did that to get to America. It just, there's some sort of feel that makes it just unique and special.
Number 6, you can stay longer in Europe. Last year on our Transatlantic, when we got off the ship, we were in Amsterdam, and we stayed in that city for 2 nights or 3 nights. I don't remember, but it was amazing.
You celebrated your birthday.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So it was a really special time because it was your birthday. And also we found a place that was reasonable and very close to the city center. I mean, it was kind of in the city center anyway. Mm-hmm. And we could walk to every place, and it just added value to the whole trip.
Mm-hmm. And this year we stayed 2 nights in Rome. So we had 2 full days in Rome. And then we flew a short hop to Lisbon, Portugal. And we spent just under 24 hours there. So that was a very quick tour.
Yeah, if you're interested in Rome, we have actually, just look at the links below. We'll link our 2 videos from day 1 and day 2 of Rome. And after this, sometime in the next couple of weeks, we'll post our Lisbon trip. Mm-hmm. Number 7 is related to number 6. You can maximize your time in Europe by thinking about doing a back-to-back on your Transatlantic. I mean, think about it. You're paying for the plane trip back or to Europe. Why not use that time to explore a cruise in Europe and then sail back to the United States or vice versa? And that's a little bit of a teaser. So at the end of our video today, we'll give you more details on the 2 Transatlantics we're doing in 2025.
Number 8 is you really get to know the staff, the crew on board. So we got to know our wait staff pretty well. We got to know our bar staff pretty well, especially the one at nighttime in the adult area.
Solarium.
The solarium. And also the captain, he was very visible out and about, and so we talked to him a few times. So it had this very like family feel, I would say, because you're on board for so long. So that's one of the highlights, I think.
Yes, and again, why does the Transatlantic seem special? It's special even to the crew. They're excited to go from what they were doing for months and months and months and then go to Europe or vice versa. And they're excited. So we're all in this sort of transatlantic journey together, and it brings out some very interesting conversation, and you learn a lot about each other, crew and customer. Number 9, a sampling of European ports. Now, I like this one because for us, we weren't world travelers and we hadn't really experienced Europe. And in just 2 cruises, we now can say that we've been to Portugal, France, England, Amsterdam, which you mentioned, Spain, and Italy. And you can, it's, to me, it's a sampling, and we know that there are certain places that maybe even without a cruise we'll want to go back to. So to me, it's a great way of sampling parts of Europe and then maybe making decisions of future vacations.
Yeah, I agree. Number 10, more dining options. First of all, the dining room is open more often. A lot of times when you do like a 7-day Caribbean cruise or something, the dining room is only open for lunch a couple of days. It's the cruising days, the sea days. So because you have so many sea days, the dining room was open for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. In fact, there were several days the first week where they had a brunch menu. So that was fun, and it was unique experience, I think, to go to the dining room more often. You could also, we had more time to go to specialty restaurants. What other additional dining room?
Well, what I'll tell you is the thing about the dining room, we've been on like 9 and 10-day cruises, and they repeat the menu once or a second time or even a third time. Something about transatlantic cruises, and I can't vouch for every cruise ship that goes over, but at least in our 2 ones that we've done, they have not repeated they've come up with new menus, and that has been a treat compared to some of our typical 8, 9, and 10-day cruises that we've taken.
We do love transatlantic cruises.
Really, really love it. Hopefully you've got that sense.
And like you said, we've booked a couple more. 2 of them in 2025. So in April into May, we'll be going from Florida to Europe on Explorer of the Seas. So we like Explorer. We like a lot of the staff that are on Explorer. So I think that'll be fun. And then our next one is October into November on
Odyssey of the Seas again, which is the last transatlantic we took, but this time we're going the opposite direction.
And we're doing a back-to-back on that one. So we'll be on Odyssey of the Seas for 24 days next year.
Yeah, we are absolutely looking forward to all of our cruises, but especially the 2 transatlantics next year.
And we know one of our subscribers will be on one of our transatlantic cruises. So let us know if you have any planned, and maybe we can meet up on a transatlantic cruise.
Sounds great. So definitely subscribe. We really do like getting a community forming here about these topics and learning from each other. So we appreciate your viewing and sharing your information.